Hi everyone, welcome to Leisrealtalk. Well, good morning, good evening. It's Thanksgiving week for those of us who live in the U.S. Okay, let's get started because we have a full program ahead of us. Who is the most dangerous man in the world? Speaking of the most dangerous man, Xi Jinping's political makeup artist Wang Huning was identified as one. American media personality Hugh Hewitt remarked in I think it was Washington Post, a column that Wang Huning exerts extraordinary influence on Xi Jinping in the realm of ideology and called him the most dangerous man in the world. Wang, let me just give you a little bit background on Wang. Wang was a professor at Fudan University before he was called to Beijing in 1995 to serve Jiang Zemin. Between 2002 and 2020, Wang was the chief speechwriter and political theorist. I can't say theorist. I'm serious. I'm not serious. Oh, help me. Theorist. No, that's not right. Theorist. The more I'm obsessed with this word, the less likely I'm able to pronounce it. That word has been on the back of my mind for the whole day today. Theorist doesn't sound right. Okay, I have to laugh at myself. So this is what research on CCP has done today. Normally, I'm able to pronounce that word, but right now, I cannot. So forgive me. Okay. All right, this will give you guys a sense of humor. Okay, political theorist. Doesn't sound right. Anyways. All right, so he was the speech writer and whatever political theorist for the three CCP leaders, Jiang Zemin, Hu Jintao, and Xi Jinping. So he was the chief architect of Jiang Zemin's three represents, whatever that means, and was responsible for crafting Hu Jintao's harmonious society and scientific outlook on development. There are concepts, okay? And then during Xi Jinping's rule, Wang is the mastermind behind Xi Jinping's China Dream and the Belt and Road Initiative and the Great Rejuvenation of the Chinese Nation slogan. These all sound great, but they're just theories. So Wang is known to be extremely secretive and low-key. However, he has recently stepped out of his comfort zone and becoming all of a sudden very visible. So people are speculating if his sudden high profile means that he will replace Xi Jinping one day or soon as the party leader. So we'll first talk about we'll first address will the man who currently holds the title of the most dangerous man in the world going to be the next CCP leader? And secondly, we'll talk about who is the most dangerous, who can possibly be more dangerous than the most dangerous man, or who is the most dangerous man in the world? Is that Wang Huning himself or the Minister of MSS or Ministry of State Security? His name is Chen Yixing. All right, so that's what we'll address. We'll first talk about Wang, who currently holds the title, and then we'll address the other man to see if he can actually beat Wang in winning the title. All right. In the past, let me share you a picture of this guy. Here we go. Yeah, they not very good looking. Anyways, it looks like he's overburdened by all the political theories that he has devised. Anyways, this man neither traveled abroad or left Beijing. His activities were very limited. However, things seem to have changed recently, and Wang has been on the road a lot. According to let me make myself more prominent. All right, let's see. So he has been on the road a lot. According to Xinhua News Agency, Wang visited Ningbo and Wenzhou in Zhejiang province from October 15th to 17th. Then from October 21st to 24th, he visited Xinjiang. He visited I think it's Hotan, Hetian, and then Kashgar in Xinjiang. Most recently, from November 20th to the 22nd, he was on an inspection tour of Hainan province. And on November 20th, he visited the new Haikou port in Hainan. And on the 22nd, he attended the opening ceremony of the ethnic minority traditional sports games in Sanya. And I think he received the organizing officials and as well as the delegates, the athletes. Now, Wang's current position is he's a Politburo Standing Committee member and the chairman of CPPCC, which stands for Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. What's interesting is accompanying Wang on the tours was Shi Taifeng, the first vice chairman of CPPCC. I do have a picture of them. If I can manage to click. Oh, here we go. There we go. The dynamic duo of CPPCC. All right, so their traveling together raised a number of concerns. First, it's unusual that the chairman and the first vice chairman of CPPCC leave town simultaneously. When the chairman is on the road, the first chairman usually stays behind to run the organization. So it's very rare that the two left not only at the same time, but be on the same trip. Secondly, Wang's deputy, Shi Taifeng, the man on the right, holds significant positions too. In addition to being the first vice chairman of CPPCC, he's a Politburo member and ranked second in the Central Secretariat after Cai Qi. So it's very rare that a Politburo member accompanies a Politburo Standing Committee member on a trip. And such arrangement is against CCP's protocol, unless the Politburo Standing Committee member is Xi Jinping himself. Only Xi can command Politburo members or anyone to accompany him on trips. And other members of Politburo Standing Committee, the other 6, when traveling, would at most be joined by a secretary or an office director. So people say this type of high-level pairing might indicate a pending power change. They say it indicates that Xi Jinping, it's another signal indicating that Xi Jinping may step down somewhere in the near future. And they say that if Xi Jinping steps down, Wang Huning could potentially take over, either temporarily or as acting general secretary, as people try to explore other alternatives to find a replacement for Xi. So if that happens, if Wang Huning does take on this role or is the designated person who will take on the role as the interim party chief, then Shi Taifeng, then his deputy, might be promoted to his chief of staff or the director of the general office. This is almost like how Li Zhanshu served Xi Jinping during his first term and Ding Xuexiang and Cai Qi during his second and third term. So here you have, you know that whenever Xi Jinping goes on the road, Cai Qi would accompany him. And that's the idea. Maybe he will promote Shi Taifeng to play the role of Cai Qi and bring him with him when he travels. So that's people's explanation of why the CPPCC chairman and first vice chairman traveled together for the past couple of trips. So now you must ask the question, when the world's most dangerous man becomes the highest leader of the largest communist state, what does that mean to all of us? Are we in a bigger peril? Well, I think not necessarily. If that indeed happens and Wang becomes the next CCP leader, I should not show this. Oh, not here. Where's? Oh, here we go. Let's say that indeed happens and he becomes the CCP leader. I think he's only a figurehead without much power. Now, if you think about it, Wang is a scholar. He's a scholar by training. He's most lethal when he plays the role of an advisor and a strategist for his boss. And he isn't really a politician by nature, I think. You know, the fact how secretive he has been, how low-key he has been. What's dangerous about him is his ideas and thinking. That's dangerous. But he himself doesn't hold much power. Wang isn't a princeling. He doesn't come from a political family. He has no influence at all in the military, right? Nobody will follow his command in the military. Nor does he have his own faction or following. He's extremely low-key, and he must stay low-key to stay out of trouble. So these are all of the qualities I gave you are the preconditions for him to be able to stick around for so long in Zhongnanhai. So if he becomes the top guy, he's only a figurehead. And I think Xi Jinping can still control him. And I think that's probably the reason why Wang is picked, because he is just a figurehead. He has no power, has no political influence other than his ideas and thinking. So Xi Jinping probably feels safe to pick him, and other people, I mean, he's a good natural choice for the compromises that they all have to make. So that's my answer to the whereabouts of the world's most dangerous man, what he has been up to. And if he does become the next CCP leader, is he still the most dangerous man? That's my answer. Now, I think the man who deserves the most dangerous man title is the Minister of State Security, the 65-year-old Chen Yixing. The man is said to be very ambitious and has been doing everything he can to get ahead and to be motivated. Where is he? Oh, there he is. I mean, the guy doesn't look that. The guy looks a little, a little bit personable than Wang Huning. But I'm going to tell you why he is more dangerous. Okay. The Wall Street Journal reported on November 11th that since Chen Yixing took charge of the MSS, the power and influence of the CCP's intelligence agencies, I should say plural, and the MSS have rapidly increased. The CCP's espionage activities have expanded significantly, triggering major alarms in the West. And according to the report, the MSS under Chen has become the most influential ministry of state security since Mao Zedong's era. Western officials stated that the CCP's espionage activities have grown to an intimidating scale. So that's the Wall Street Journal's report. And if you really look at, the breaking news right now, I mean, there are two that have been in the headlines. I mean, one is the Baltic undersea cable sabotage, right? And in the early morning of November 18th, undersea fiber optic cables connecting Finland to Germany and Sweden to Lithuania were severed, and the Chinese vessel Yipeng 3 was detected near the damaged sites during the incidents. And Sweden has requested the vessel's return to its waters for investigation, suspecting that suspecting the ship has played a role in the sabotage. Swedish Prime Minister Kristersson emphasized the need for clarity without making direct accusations yet. So that's one of the news we've heard over the weekend. And the second is cyber espionage and sabotage. The MSS has been implicated in extensive cyber espionage campaigns targeting Western nations. In July 2021, the UK and its allies accused the MSS of a pervasive pattern of hacking. And I think in the last day or two, a senior US senator told the Washington Post that the Chinese government espionage campaign that has deeply penetrated more than a dozen US telecommunication companies is the worst telecom hack in our nation's history by far. And also we've heard that Chinese hackers targeted the cell phones of Donald Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance, as well as people working for the campaign of Vice President Kamala Harris. I said it right. And State Department officials. So, I mean, of course, their effort was not directly election related, and the hackers got into the telecom systems a month earlier, and in some areas a year ago. So the U.S. officials said these activities are they see these activities as espionage operation rather than just a critical infrastructure sabotage. So, and these are all orchestrated by MSS. And the third is coercion of Chinese diaspora and attacks on outspoken Chinese Americans and Chinese American organizations. And to do this, the MSS has mobilized its entire network in the US, and even the New York Times is involved. In order to understand the ministry's plan, I need to tell you about who Chen Yixing is. Okay, so he served in Zhejiang province for a long time and worked directly under Xi Jinping when Xi was the acting governor and later party secretary of Zhejiang province. And 3 years after Xi Jinping became the CCP's top leader in 2012, Chen was brought to Beijing to be the deputy director of the Central Leading Group for Deepening Reforms. He then was appointed provincial leader. He became a provincial leader in Wuhan. And then 3 years later, in 2018, he returned to Beijing and became the chief secretary of the Central Political and Legal Affairs Commission in that year, March 2018. That's when Chen officially started his tenure in the public and state security sector in the central government. So if you really, if you really think about it, he's only been in that service or in that profession for 6 years, since 2018. However, he is a very ambitious man. His position, the chief secretary, he's not like the secretary general, but he's like the head of his role is more like a COO or a CAO, chief administration officer at the commission. While there, Chen consolidated the 50 Cents Army, the Wu Mao Army. He openly encouraged political and legal personnel, police officers, propaganda staff to establish individual social media accounts and develop a large following. So this guy is very much into social media or cyber warfare. And he emphasized the need to explore new strategies and new battleground methods for cyber wars, and called for people in his organizations to proactively ease the party's burdens. He's like, everybody does their share so that we could proactively ease, the party's burdens. However, so basically he's playing the role of the police chief or security. He's playing the role of a senior official in the security apparatus, but then he has also overstepped his boundaries, encroaching on the authorities of the Central Propaganda Department, because he's essentially doing propaganda and policing. In recent years, as the CCP has intensified its internal crackdowns, Chen has actively supported the related rectification campaigns. He echoed, like in 2020, he echoed Xi Jinping by stressing the need for a, quote, bone-scraping detoxification-style self-revolution to cleanse and rectify the system. So he had hoped that his efforts on loyalty would earn him a promotion at the 20th Party Congress in 2022 to become the head of the Central Political and Legal Affairs Commission, right? The commission where he served. The head of that commission is the highest position in the CCP's intelligence and security apparatus. However, unexpectedly, Xi Jinping didn't choose him. Instead, he chose another Chen Wenqing. Now, let me see. I'll show you the pictures. Do we have two Chens? Yeah. This is. Yeah. Oh, no, this is not. This is not. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So instead, Xi Jinping chose Chen Wenqing, the man on the left, and who was formerly the Minister of State Security, who was the head of the MSS. And then Xi Jinping made Chen Yixing, the man on the right, succeed Chen Wenqing when he got promoted. So when Chen Wenqing was promoted, he became Chen Yixing's boss. So comparing the two Chens, Chen Wenqing, the one on the left, started his career as a policeman and has decades of experience in public security or state security and intelligence and legal systems, right? So he has decades, years of experience, but Chen Yixing on the right only has 6 years of experience. Age-wise, the boss, the one on the left, is actually 1 year younger than Chen Yixing, the man who's very ambitious. Now, what makes Chen Yixing not happy in his role is another man. Let me see. I want to make sure it is the right person. Wang Xiaohong, correct. That's him. Wang Xiaohong is a close ally of Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping's daughter grew up with Wang Xiaohong's daughter. When Xi Jinping and his wife were busy, they sent their daughter to be living with Wang's family. He also has a daughter, so the two families were very close. That they're like friend. They're like friends. So now Wang Xiaohong is the Minister of Public Security, not State Security, but he ranks higher than Chen Yixing because in addition to being a minister, he also is a state councilor and a deputy secretary of the Political and Legal Affairs Commission. So he's like the deputy of the Chen Wenqing, and he ranks higher than Chen Yixing. So of the three security and intelligence chiefs of the CCP, Chen Yixing ranks the lowest. Now, at the time of the party Congress in 2022, Chen Yixing was already 63 years old. CCP's retirement age for senior officials at the ministerial level is 65. That means his chance to be promoted again is gone. And then he will retire as the Minister of MSS. For him to go one step higher, he's too old. But like I said, Chen is very ambitious and is unwilling to stop there. He feels the need to achieve new feats. Okay, so he's been trying very hard to make a distinctive mark. He has changed the traditionally secretive and low-key style of the ministry and brought in the approach he used at the Political and Legal Affairs Commission, where he relied on social media to propagate. So in the summer of 2023, the MSS, which never had a social media profile, I mean, because they're the spy agency, they launched their first official WeChat account. In addition, MSS frequently published articles on topics such as economics, finance, diplomacy, and culture. So if you still remember, in 2023, last summer, under Chen's leadership, the MSS offered a $500,000 reward to encourage the public to participate in a nationwide anti-espionage campaign, reminiscent of the Catch a Spy movement during the Cultural Revolution. It's like, catch a spy and you will win $500,000, right? It's, remember in Chinese, it's called 行走的50万, the walking $500,000. It encouraged Chinese citizens to catch a walking 500,000 yuan, because a spy, a walking spy equates to $500,000 yuan. This campaign promoted, got Western or foreign investors and companies in China very concerned, because it's, they don't feel safe. And that's really a turning point for foreign investors and companies to start withdraw or leave the country, or expedite the process of leaving. And then on April 29th, 2024, MSS published an article proposing a new five anti-campaign, 五反. Remember the five anti-campaign, what it is called, new five anti-campaign, which included anti-subversion, anti-hegemony, anti-secession, anti-terrorism, and anti-espionage. And this new five anti-campaign is modeled after Mao Zedong's famous five anti-campaign. Mao also had a five anti-campaign. But think about it. Mao was the chairman of the Communist Party, while Chen Yixing is only a minister of a department in the State Council. So his proposal was perceived as overly presumptuous and attention-seeking. It did not go well internally in the CCP. So he was forced to remove the lengthy article from the MSS WeChat account a few days later. In September last year, MSS ventured into diplomacy, making threatening remarks about Biden administration's China strategy, saying that the United States needed to show sufficient sincerity. And this remark was made before the Biden-Xi meeting, before the APEC summit in San Francisco. And also shortly after the central government's financial work conference in early November, the MSS published an article discussing financial security. It declared that the MSS would strengthen oversight of national security risks in the financial sector. So it's all over the place. Now, think about it. A traditionally secretive spy agency suddenly has stepped into the spotlight and want to give opinions and directions on finance, diplomacy, and politics. So his aggressive manner isn't well received within the party, as he has overstepped his authorities. So Chen turned his attention internationally beyond China's border. Now, this summer, a group of CCP spies and self-proclaimed former Falun Gong practitioners and ex-Shenyun performers, Shenyun Performing Arts, the dance group that travels around the world with very colorful posters and colorful ads. I mean, they have traveled all over the world. I'm sure you have seen their visuals somewhere. So some people who claim, some people who were ex-Shenyun performers, and some people who claim they're former Falun Gong practitioners suddenly appeared on U.S. Social media, making accusations against Shenyun Performing Arts and Falun Gong. Now, the CCP has always used tactics to defame Falun Gong. What they do is they will, they'll have people who say crazy things I claim they're Falun Gong. They will send threatening letters to theaters, that host Shen Yun, and they will just make threatening claims saying that they're Falun Gong. I mean, they would do crazy things in the name of Falun Gong to cause misunderstandings, from people. And they've been doing that for like a long time. But this time it's different because somehow they got the New York Times involved. The Times has since published multiple hit pieces on Shen Yun. I think it was like 6, maybe more. I don't know. So the New York Times has not been particularly friendly towards Falun Gong over the years. But I mean, it's one of the media outlets allowed in China, and its Chinese website is partially accessible from inside China. But the Times would not usually take such a strongly and antagonistic stance against, artists who are victims of the largest human rights abuse in China. I mean, it's not sensible to do. The Times' latest series of aggressive reporting against Falun Gong, however, followed another set of motive. And according to a source from inside China, it's entirely part of a CCP conspiracy related to Chen Yixing, the minister of MSS. According to an insider from China's Public Security Bureau, this is PSS, not MSS, by the pseudonym Hua Shen, and I translate as Watson, because Hua Shen is exactly Watson in English. So let's call this guy Watson, who revealed to the Epoch Times a few days ago that attacking Falun Gong overseas is part of a plan by MSS, by actually Chen Yixing, the minister, to curry favor and seek rewards for his political ambitions. The MSS has been behind the plan and continuously supplying the so-called internal materials to support these efforts. So amid, it's been 25 years since the persecution of Falun Gong has started, but Falun Gong has not given up its peaceful resistance, and the practice has spread to over 100 countries worldwide. According to Watson, Falun Gong has been a long-standing and unresolved issue for the CCP. It's been a source of distress for the regime. Whenever the CCP, high-ranking CCP officials travel abroad, Falun Gong protests are certainly can be seen. And this has deeply displeased Xi Jinping. Although the persecution of Falun Gong has intensified domestically, the CCP has been unable to effectively target the movement abroad. Primarily because, this is all according to Watson, primarily because no one within the regime has been willing to take on the task. The minister of MSS, Chen Yixing, however, saw that as an opportunity. So Watson said from the spring, he began conspiring the latest attacks. And his plan is to undermine Falun Gong's overseas forces and dismantle its organizations, and completely resolve the Falun Gong, quote-unquote, Falun Gong issue by the end of the year. By doing so, Chen hopes to use it to gain recognition and rewards from Xi Jinping. So through hidden agents and coordinating with its large-scale external propaganda efforts, Chen utilized social media influencers to create noise. And he said, this is what Watson said. He said, the CCP is very skilled at these activities. The people you see on the surface may not actually be their agents, but they are CCP's pawns who carry out malicious deeds. Experienced agents will not reveal themselves. They are highly trained and extremely capable. Instead, with the collaboration of China's Ministry of State Security (MSS) and Ministry of Public Security, they recruited certain individuals to step forward and act on their behalf. And these individuals may not be aware of MSS and MP or MPS behind it. So these people who are actually doing the work for MSS and MPS are not aware that CCP agents are actually driving this. So, one such person is Zhang Chen, who's a 71-year-old pro-CCP community leader from California. He was sentenced to 20 months in prison by U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York in July. He was convicted of acting as an unregistered agent of the CCP and bribing a U.S. official between January and May 2023. Chen and his bodyguard, another Chinese, acting on orders from the CCP, engaged in activities in the U.S., which includes manipulating the RRS whistleblower program in an attempt to revoke the tax-exempt status of Shenyang Performing Arts. So I don't know if the New York Times is aware that it's actually part of an operation of China's MSS. It probably relies on some Chinese American journalists. The New York Times probably relies on Chinese American journalists who have special connections in China, right? Who obtained so-called exclusive information. But I don't know if they are aware that the so-called exclusive information or connection in China are engineered by MSS. I think New York Times is playing with fire. Anyways, New York Times will not have, I don't know if you watched my program that I released yesterday. It's on pharmaceutical companies. I made a program called Caught in China. It's about pharmaceutical companies that are engaged in organ harvesting in China. But I think media outlets that are actively helping a foreign spy agency, may belong to the same category. But I don't know if they're aware they're doing that. But anyways, here's my question to you. We have to decide on something together. If you look back, the man whose ambition to get ahead is behind the sabotage of the Baltic Sea undersea cable and the cyber espionage and attacks in the West, and now has successfully deployed, the New York Times, one of the premium news brand in the US, to go after a New York-based performing arts group whose artists fled China to have their voices heard. In my opinion, is more dangerous than Xi Jinping's political theorist, because the former can cause so much more damage and harm physically, while the theories of the latter can no longer deceive people. I think the minister of MSS is more dangerous because of the physical harms he could make. Just imagine the cyber attacks that they have. I mean, the U.S. still has not been able to clean the network that the CCP has infiltrated. They're still on our network, and we're not able to completely get rid of them because of the old network. A certain elements or certain components of the network is too old. So, and also the undersea cables, the severing of the undersea cable, I think we shouldn't allow that to happen. I mean, we've allowed that to happen over and over again. Like in the Taiwan Strait, like Taiwan's undersea cable has been cut. So I think this man is more dangerous than Wang Huning, the political makeup artist, because his harm is ideological. But right now, not a lot of people still believe, what he preaches. So I think his harm, the harm he could cause has been diminished. And yet, the head of the MSS, being so aggressive and so ambitious, can cause much more harm. So here, let's do a vote. Who do you think is more dangerous? Who do you think deserves the title of being the world's most dangerous man? Is that Xi Jinping's political theorist or the head of his spy agency? So vote 1 if you think it's Wang Huning, and vote 2 if you think it's Chen Yixin. Let's see what you guys think. All right, that's a lot of information. Have I regained the ability to say the word theorist? Political theorist. Yeah, now I can say it. Political theorist. No problem. All right. Okay. All right. Have I bored you guys with all the... Lei struggles a little bit with her pronunciation of English words when she's intense. She forgets how to say certain words. Okay, let me see. I see some super stickers. I appreciate that. Oh, here we go. My Chinese home kitchen. Well, thank you. Hi, Lei. Happy Thanksgiving. Well, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I'm grateful for your hard work and bravery in sharing your insights. You have a good heart. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Edmund Burke, yes. Good men and good women, right? We're part of it. I agree. Well, thank you, my Chinese home kitchen, for the support and for the comments. I agree with you 100%. Yes, I think I saw a Dave M. Well, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. All the best for you and your family. Wow, thank you, Dave. And another YouTube channel. Your pronunciation of theorist is pretty dangerous. Interesting topic. Is it? Is it dangerous? I got it back. All right, I think you're just making fun of me. All right, I'm able to say it now. But thank you. Thank you for the humor. Charles Womack. Wang Huning looks like an evil genius. Oh, he looks, it's not very pretty to look at. I mean, one could get distressed by looking at him. Norbert Klotz. Why would any person try to become the leader of the CCP with all of the obvious problems existing? They only can lose. The Chinese people would not be so stupid to support that. Why would any person try to become the leader of the CCP with all the... That's right. You said they don't want to. You know, one of the problems the CCP leadership has is they can't find someone interested in taking over Xi Jinping's job. That's why he's still doing it. He probably doesn't want to do it either. And I think that's why, that's why the princelings don't want it, because they're smart. I mean, they understand the consequences and the liability. So that's why they made Wang Huning, who has no connection, who's a scholar. I mean, that's why, I think that's precisely the reason why he's chosen. That's why he is likely to be the next leader. And he cannot refuse it. You know, being who he is, he doesn't have the liberty to turn it down. It would be unwise he cannot turn it down, you know, because he doesn't have the political clout he doesn't have the liberty, the freedom to make that decision, or to have the freedom to say no, thank you, I'm not interested. All right, I got a question. Mitch, did you ever attach the Shenyun event? Oh, attend? How much does it cost to go? I watched them. Their program varies from year to year, although the format is the same. The ticket, the last that I went, the most expensive, depending on the theater, I think if you go to like Lincoln Center, if you go to like the DC Kennedy Center, the tickets can be more expensive. But if you go to smaller cities, I think you can get a ticket for like 80 or something like that. Yeah, you can check out their website. Silas, theorist. Oh, you're. I feel challenged. I just managed to pronounce the word theorists. Theories. Now you just thrown another word at me. Okay. Uh-oh, what happened? Okay. Mark Pollard. Perhaps the prophecies said that the white feather man would be the last leader of the Red Dynasty because nobody else would take the throne since things, everything points that Xi Jinping is the last leader of of CCP. So one may not even have a chance. So who knows? I'm sure they have internal discussions about, you know, they have to have a successor or somebody who could assume the job in the event that he gets sick or he's not feeling well, because he does seem to have health issues. So they have to appoint someone. And I think that someone will be someone who doesn't come from like a red family. Okay, my Chinese home kitchen is trying to talk to me in Chinese. It says when I try to speak Chinese or return a smile with someone whose native language is Chinese. And say, he's trying to encourage me, saying that my English pronunciation is better than his Chinese pronunciation. But you don't have to do a YouTube channel in Chinese. The standards are different. If you need to do a YouTube channel in Chinese, you will feel the pain, as I do often. Silas, well, thank you. Texas Panda say, I have the same problem. Okay, all right. I have many stories to share with you of how Lei struggled when she learned her English. Netflix foreign. Before the CCP fall now, did the common citizens actually trust the MSS? Most Americans have doubts for their intelligence agencies, especially the international one. I think the MSS didn't really mean much to average Chinese unless those who travels internationally. If you're visited by the MSS, then that means you're in trouble. But now the MSS, since last summer, the MSS is very prominent because they have social media account. They put out ads. They directly engage with the average Chinese about how to catch a spy. I don't know how the Chinese look at them. I suppose Chinese, they tell Chinese how to make some money by turning in a spy. You make 500,000 yuan when you turn in a spy. So yeah. Okay, Chris 180 feeds me a question. Question from Mark Pollard. Do you think this person is involved in the organ donation you talked about in your most recent video? Why doesn't the US do anything? You mean this person, you mean the minister? I don't know. I'm not sure, but he deals with international issues, right? He's like the equivalent, the head of CIA. So I don't know. I can't answer about organ donation because that's more domestic issues. A vegan T-Rex. You think the CCP's aggressive sabotage around the world should be taken as an act of war as much as bullets? Yes, they are acts of war. Soft infiltration into Chinese diaspora communities is during wartime. Yeah, the CCP has very good control of the diaspora communities here. So I've always said that the US should pay attention to this territory because this is right in the US. The US government should have programs targeting like communities like Flushing, New York, Brooklyn, New York, Chinatown, San Francisco, Chinatown. The CCP has very strong influence over there. So this is right here in the US. How reliable is Epoch Times news? I have said this, Epoch Times, I read Epoch Times Chinese edition because when it comes to China news and China, there's no one that has been around that does China news as long as Epoch Times. I know some people don't like Epoch Times' political view in the US because of its conservative view. But I read Chinese Epoch Times, the Chinese edition Epoch Times, because it's the most, when it comes to political analysis and political news, they're the fastest, most comprehensive. They used to have journalists inside China, but a lot of them got arrested and locked up in prisons. So they don't have journalists based in China, but they do have a lot of sources in China, and because people do feed Epoch Times information, and also like the Politburo. I don't know if the current Politburo still does that, but at least like 10 years ago, maybe 7-8 years ago, the Politburo, when they have a meeting, there were 24 of them, 25 of them. Yeah, the New York edition of Epoch Times is on the table. They do read the New York edition of Epoch Times. Actually, if you think about it, whatever the CCP, says it's bad is actually very good for them. It's the opposite, right? CCP, like it's Xi Jinping recently arrested some officials because they read illegal books, and some of the books are books published by I think the press associated with the Epoch Times, or books written by Epoch Times, and so they are banned books. But just because they're banned, Xi Jinping doesn't want the officials to read them. That doesn't mean he doesn't read them. It's just like Kim Jong-un doesn't allow the North Koreans to watch the soap opera from South Korea, but he himself watches them. And even when Kim Jong-un speaks Korean, he picks up the South Korean dialects. People notice because he's been watching the South Korean soap opera for so long. He picks up their dialects and their vocabulary, but he bans his people. He prohibits his people from watching them. Same thing with China. The high-ranking officials watch. I think it's called NTD TV. Yeah, the TV. It's the TV business of Epoch Times. They watch NTD TV and then they read Epoch Times, but they don't allow anyone else to read them or watch them. So, that tells you. That tells you whether you should read Epoch Times or not. I think Epoch Times Chinese edition is so far the best source on Chinese politics. I have not seen anyone getting anywhere close. As comprehensive, as in-depth, and as fast. It doesn't matter if you wait a week to come up with an analysis. That's too late. All right, boycott China. Love to ever lovely Lei. Well, thank you, boy. Thank you. Netflix foreign. Red Velvet is a K-pop group. Okay, all right, Red Velvet. I have not heard of them. Yeah. Okay, that's all. I have been talking for an hour, almost an hour, and I thank you for joining me. I won't be doing a live stream on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving, but I will have a special program for you on Thanksgiving Day. It's my anniversary. I started my life as a YouTuber 4 years ago on Thanksgiving. During the Thanksgiving holiday. So every Thanksgiving is my anniversary. I'm making a special anniversary video for that day. I hope you will like it. All right, so I'll see you in a few days. All right, enjoy your break. Enjoy the happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. Bye.